From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. Canada is expanding its military presence in the Arctic. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced Canada will use Australia's over-the-horizon radar tech to monitor threats from adversaries like China and Russia. Carney was asked by reporters about his concern for the Northwest Passage, given U.S. President Donald Trump's annexation threats.
These are Canadian sovereign waters. These are internal waters to Canada. And we, first and foremost, need to take steps to assert that sovereignty.
Carney says one of the ways to do that is by developing communities and economic opportunities along the Northwest Passage. Canadian and American business people met today in Vermont, laying out the ways tariffs will harm their companies. Quebec Liberal MP Marie-Claude Bibeau told the Roundtable Group the threat from the U.S. goes beyond tariffs and now touches on Canada's sovereignty. U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to an immediate pause in strikes against energy and infrastructure targets in the Ukraine war. Reporter James Longman is in Kyiv.
Sounds like Vladimir Putin might have given Donald Trump just enough to sell a win of sorts, a promise that energy infrastructure won't be hit, without really agreeing at all to the ceasefire deal that, let's remember, Ukraine has already agreed to.
Trump and Putin spoke by phone for over an hour, but Ukraine's president was not included. RioCan is calling for fair and balanced restructuring terms after Hudson's Bay filed for creditor protection. The two companies co-own 12 store properties, including some of HBC's most prominent locations. Hudson's Bay is waiting for the court's permission to start liquidating all of its stores after filing for creditor protection March 7th. A new survey has found Black Canadians are seeing progress in efforts to improve the workplace, but there are still problems. The KPMG survey finds more than 3/4 of respondents say they experienced microaggressions, discrimination, or acts of racism at work over the past year. Statistics Canada says the annual rate of inflation jumped to 2.6% in February as the federal government's 2-month sales tax holiday came to an end mid-month.
The reading of 2.6% was higher than economists' expectations and up sharply from the 1.9% increase in January when the tax break was in effect for the entire month. StatCan calculations show that without the GST holiday in place for half of February, inflation would have come in at 3%. Economists say the inflation data and the economic hit from tariff uncertainty are complicating the path forward for the Bank of Canada. The central bank recently cut its policy rate to bring it to 2.75%. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
This is The Canadian Press. In sports, the league-leading Winnipeg Jets are in Vancouver tonight to take on the Canucks. The Jets have won 3 straight, and a victory over Vancouver will make them the first team to reach 100 points this season. NHL action also has the Montreal Canadiens hosting the Ottawa Senators in another all-Canadian matchup. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers host Utah. The league-leading Montreal Victoire are in Boston tonight, taking on the Fleet in professional women's hockey league action. Montreal leads second-place Boston by 6 points in the 6-team standings. The Nashville Predators and Pittsburgh Penguins are set to play games in Stockholm in November, part of the NHL's Global Series. Could be one last chance for Pittsburgh captain Sidney Crosby and Swedish defenseman Erik Karlsson to play in Scandinavia. And Philadelphia Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham has retired after a 15-year career that included 2 Super Bowl victories. He retires as the Eagles' all-time leader with 206 games played. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.